Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about Sling model, okay? So as we know, we already talked about single field component, multi-field as well as nested multi-field component in previous lectures. So today we are going to discuss about all the concept related to Sling model, okay? So before starting the Sling model concept, first we need to understand when we are authoring any component, how generally it is rendering on the page, okay? Whatever, I mean to say whatever content we are authoring on the page, so how the flow generally working, okay? So what I'll do is that first I started my AEM server. So I'll be going to sites here, and after that I already have one project. Okay, this project we are following since starting our lecture. Okay, so if I go here and AEM tab, and I'll just open home tab here. So we'll go to home page and we'll edit this one. So within home.html, I just wanted to add some component here. So one component I'll add, I generally discuss here if we are authoring any component, how generally when we are authoring any value in the dialog, how generally behind the scene, how the things are working. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just click on plus icon, and after that here I'll just add one component which is course title. Okay. Here. So after adding this course title basically, so let me refresh this page first. Here I haven't added any placeholder. That's why we are not able to see any content. Okay. So, but if you go to the toggle icon, we'll able to see that. If I edit this one here within course title, I'm just adding AEM, maybe AEM tutorial. After adding, as you can see, we are getting this particular content whatever we have added in the dialog. Okay, so how this kind of rendering is happening behind the scenes, so that particular part I'll talk about, and after that we'll discuss uh, we'll discuss the sling model. Okay, generally behind the scene we are calling the sling model, as we know when we were discussing about the single field component, multi-field as well as nested multi-field component, right? So first to check this how generally this content is rendering, so first we'll go to here developer mode first. Okay, so we'll go to developer console as I mentioned, and after that we have to go to here toggle icon, and we'll have to go to here. Okay. Then here if you see, okay, so we'll able to get the details. Okay. So where this particular node is available. Okay. So what we can do is that if you click on here, it will redirect us to CRXT. Okay. And where this component is available, we'll able to get that. Okay. So whatever we are authoring, I mean to say here, this kind of thing like AEM tutorial course we are authoring, right? That particular part we'll able to see it here. Okay. If you see this one, okay, within the node name is course title, whatever uh, name we have here, and after that within this particular resource we are able to see whatever we are authoring. So as you can see here we have AEM tutorial course, so we are able to get this one, and after that what we are getting here is that the name is course title. Okay, and after that the value is getting reflected here, whatever we are adding in the dialog, those value will able to store it here. Okay, and this value generally we have to fetch, okay, from here, and after that we have to display as a STL. Okay, so how generally we are displaying, so if you see here we have sling colon resource type. Okay, so if you go to this particular path, custom AEM project, then component AEM component course title. Okay, let me go there. So we'll have to go to apps, then custom AEM project, and then components, and after that AEM components, and after that we have one component course title. Okay, so within course title the rendering logic generally we are writing it here. Okay, so if you see here we have some slide tag and we are using model classes here. This particular part we are going to discuss anyway. Okay, but the rendering logic generally we are writing in item value dot course title. Okay, so whatever name we have here, okay, in a resource, okay, whatever name we have here, we based with the help of this name we are able to fetch this value. So as you can see we are writing item value dot course title. This particular part we already discussed, but I'm going to explain again. Okay, but the way we are displaying is that how we are displaying, like the whatever reference variable we got here, and based on the reference variable we are just using the name and name property here, and after that we are displaying it here. Okay, and this particular part we already talked about previously also, like generally how we are fetching generally how we are fetching the data and how we are displaying on the page. Okay, so we already have one basically document there. We have mentioned the steps, okay, or diagram we have mentioned, right? Previously we are already talked about that, so let me show you that also one time. If you go here, okay, so generally, as I mentioned here, we have AEM dialog. Right now, this I have had a different example. Just you can assume here we have course title only, okay. We don't have subtitle. Let's assume right now. So whatever we are adding here, generally we are storing in basically database. As I mentioned, database generally here we are using as a JCR, okay. So this kind of value, whatever I was authoring, okay, those values generally we are storing in resource node, right? Okay, component resource node, and there we are storing as a key value pair. Okay, so within name we are adding the key, and whatever value we are authoring in the dialog as we are using as a value there. Okay, and after that this particular part, like the we are going to write the basically model classes related to that, and those model classes we are doing all the processing, and after that in the STL generally what we are doing, we are writing some presentation logic to display on the browser. Okay, so here what I have done is that here the same thing, right? So here we are using the business logic, we are going to write it here, and after that presentation logic whatever we have, we are going to write in STL as STL format, like item value dot course title. So whatever we are returning from the model reference variable, we store all the variable here, and after that those variable generally we are displaying it here, right, based on the property name. Okay, so and after that we are going to discuss the model class. Okay, like what is the basic understanding related to model class and why we are using that model class. Okay, generally we are going to discuss that, and after that we'll talk about the rest of the things related to model. Okay, so I'll just open my Eclipse here. So okay, so after that here we have already course title model is already created, if you see here. Okay, so this is the simple model we have created. So that and we are calling this model class in STL. Okay, if you see this one within STL, we are calling like com.adb.am, whatever full path we have here, we are adding full path and we are calling this particular model. Okay, so so generally, model is some kind of one class, okay, simple class. So when we are using at the rate model annotation, everyone, it will become as it will behave as a model, okay. And here we are using package. Basically, this particular class is part of this package. Means if you see here, com Adobe this path, and after that we have model, then we have course title, right? This particular part. So this is the package information. This particular class part of this package, okay. And after that we have used a different import statement. I'm going to explain one by one all the things. Okay, so if you use within this class, if you use at the rate model annotation, so this particular class will behave as a model, and we are using adaptable as a resource here. Okay, so this particular class will behave as a resource now. Okay, I mean to say, like whatever resource properties we have, we can add those resource properties here. Okay, and after that we have here one more thing, which is default injection strategy. That particular part also I'm going to talk about. Okay, first we'll explain here basically what we have written in basically within a course title model. Okay, so we are using one annotation which is inject annotation, or instead of inject we can use value map annotation also. Okay, if you type here value map, value annotation also we can use. Okay, both the things will behave as the same. So generally this particular annotation, okay, we are going to basically we are using to inject any property. Okay, whatever we have, whatever resource value we have, if you wanted to inject anything, if you wanted to inject anything here, so generally we are using value map value annotation. Okay, so injecting means like whatever value we have here. If I talk about this one, right? So value map represent this particular part. Okay. So value map means we have some key and we have some respective value regarding that key. Okay. This that particular part is called value map. Okay. So if we are defining any within model class, if we are defining any value map, we are representing this one. Okay, whole thing. So what we are generally doing is that we are injecting this particular part because we are going to fetch this value, right? So within value map, what we are doing, we are using value map value, and we are writing as a private string, and the whatever value we would just wanted to inject it here. Okay, so the course title, because the course title value where we have this information, within the course title we have this information, right? This particular data information, dialog information. So that's why we are writing this particular variable it here. Okay. Here. Okay, and after that we have to generate a getter and setter methods. Getter method, generally setter is not needed. Okay, getter only we need, because these value we can't call this particular variable directly from the outside. Okay, if you wanted to invoke any like with the help of this class, we can't call this particular variable because it is private, and we know in Java, right, private variable existent will only be part of this particular class, so we can't call any private variable or method outside of the class. Okay, so that's why what we have done, we have created getter method regarding that. So generally if you see this particular method, we are calling from the from the STL. Okay, we are not calling this particular variable. Okay, so if we talk about this one, if I'm going here, if I represent this particular part we are calling. So if I like if I can copy and paste it here, generally I just wanted to mention, like, don't be confused here. So when we are talking about any variable, like when we are calling any method, and how generally we need to execute those variable information, like method information, generally we are calling this in this way. Okay, but in AEM, generally what we are doing, we are just removing the get method here from here itself. Okay, this get method, then the first value should be in capital, and after that we are removing this bracket also. Okay, so but ideally what generally we are performing, we are performing this particular method, not this variable. Okay, and one more thing is remaining here, which is basically default injection strategy. So we are making basically all the variable whatever we have here, right, all the variable we are making as a optional. Okay, so if you don't mention this one, so if you don't mention this one, everything will be treated as a required. Okay, suppose that required means if you don't add those variable in a dialog, those information, if you don't add, that particular part will not work. If you are removing this one, so we can do this kind of thing. So we have within AEM, we have add the rate optional annotation also. So we have to use this one. Okay, okay, in this way also we can perform. But what we are generally doing is that here we are making whole field is a optional. If we need any particular field, like suppose that if any ID or something is there which is should be required. Okay, so what we can do here, for particular field everyone, what we can do, we can add here required annotation. Okay, required annotation if you'll add, so this particular field should be mandatory when we are adding any component, or within component, within dialog we are adding something, so you should add this one, otherwise component will break. Okay, so just keep this particular part in your mind. I think we are good with this. Okay, so basically this is the basic annotation or basic syntax related to model. Okay, Sling model, and lot of thing we have here, and in coming lecture I am going to discuss everything one by one. Okay, so many annotations we have, so all the things we are going to discuss in futures. Okay, so for now I think we are good. Okay, thank you everyone for watching this video.